I'm here this week with a lot of people. This is a big show. And we're going to talk about what's been happening in the StarCraft scene in the past week. So let's go with the intros, and then we'll go on with the topics. ToD, what have you been up to lately?
Playing quite a bit of StarCraft, actually, believe it or not. Been shifting back. I saw that. Playing a bit of ladder, watching quite a few streams, a lot of tournaments, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I casted a little bit. I casted Gfinity in French as community caster. This was fun. With you as well, desRow.
Yep.
It's been good.
Nice. What about you, Roddy? What have you been up to?
God damn it, I just muted my microphone because I wanted to tweet that we were live. I don't know, I've been obviously been streaming a lot over the last few weeks. I've been gaining some weight over here in Europe while my mom is buying me way too many snacks and stuff. But I also went to Gfinity last weekend, and that was really cool. Since it's been a while since I did a European event.
Mm-hmm. And you're gonna go at Dreamhack, right?
No, I'm not going to Dreamhack.
Well, let's come back desRow. What about you, Nathanias? What have you been up to lately?
Just been doing a lot of streaming. Just been chilling. Nothing too crazy. I leave for France tomorrow morning. That's about it. Oh, and I made AK in Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Hashtag Passion Strike.
Nice.
And you were just playing GTA as the show started. Fucking Stephen Bonnell the third here.
I was just playing. I did a Remax episode where people said I had some of my best responses in a Remax episode while I was playing Hearthstone. Okay, it happened once. I was on a binge. I was addicted. It was very early on in the show, though. Rip.
What about you, Xeno? What have you been up to lately?
I've been making the opposite transition of ToD. I've been going straight into my professional Minecraft career. And
nice.
also, I'm going to start playing Heroes of the Storm professionally. That's all.
You play Terran, so you don't need practice. You can just steal games from Puck and be fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never practiced before in my life. It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Them genes. It's good to be born on the east side of the world. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's just how it is, right, desRow?
Exactly.
We were looking for something to make drama about, so I guess we've got that.
Yeah. As for myself, I've just been streaming, casting in French with ToD. It was really painful because he likes to bully me. And then otherwise, just been working out and stuff. But let's get into the topics. Gfinity happened last weekend. A lot of good games. And me and ToD, while we were casting, we really thought that Bunny was going to be the savior once again, because he did it last year. He won a Gfinity, and this tournament had a lot of good Koreans, but it also had a lot of Zergs, which TVZ is a good matchup for Bunny, but it didn't pan out as he lost 3-0 to True. You don't think it's a good matchup?
No.
Well, what makes you say that? He doesn't like the current map pool at all, and I don't think he was very confident going into the bracket. I think he even tweeted about it that he didn't like it, but even before that he's not a big fan of it right now.
The current map was fucking brutal against Terran versus
Yeah.
Zerg.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Because, like, the fucking maps are good for Zerg and not Terran. Like, you have fucking Cactus Valley, which is huge.
Oh
like,
my god.
If you get cross positions, Cactus Valley, it's good night. You might as well just do a Hell Battle in or something like that.
That's exactly.
Which is like, it was really weird because like you see like in the pro games right now in the Korean scene, like people are doing Hell Battle ins like cross positions on a 4-player map, so it takes like 15 or 20 seconds longer to get there, but like it's just this map pool is just really hard. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. The map pool before this one and maybe even the map pool before that one was good for Terran, so it's just the nature of map pools, so just gotta find a way to
heavily.
I guess it's like all the Zergs that kept complaining. I still thought that Terran versus Zerg was good for Terran, but it makes sense what you say. Plus, you're a premier player, so I bow down to you.
Well, I mean, also like it doesn't matter what people say. Like actions speak louder than words. Like Zerg just fucking or Zerg just destroyed Terran in
language, young man.
Jeez. This is a PG-13 show.
Sorry.
That's why I don't want to be affiliated with language like this on this show. Good luck with Remax today. I'm out.
I was about to say they freaking ragged on Terran, but I didn't want to finish that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that's a really good point. That's very interesting because if you look at like the numbers and everything from like Pro League and the S2SL or whatever, like whether they're not basically any tournament that didn't immediately switch over to the new maps, and you still see kind of like the old trends where it's a little more. I only say balanced because Terran win more relative to this, not necessarily that it's balanced because Terran is winning, but it's very interesting. Like when people whine about balance, the maps have just such a huge impact on the win rates, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Okay. So a top 4, full of Zergs. Patient, SOS, not able to beat J-Dong and Hydra, respectively. And then, Roach versus Roach. Roddy, how hard was it to sell hype at the event?
It wasn't that hard. I didn't cast any of the 2 semifinals, and the quarterfinal I casted, I definitely felt some hype for. Like SOS Hydra, I think is a really great matchup on paper. The games, obviously not very good, but and the final, I mean, I don't think you have to sell too much hype for a final. A final, obviously you want to hype it a little bit, but it has to also just live up to the hype of a final. I felt the games were okay-ish. I think CVZ can definitely be a fun matchup. It can be an interesting matchup, but the way that these games played out, it was kind of like, one guy's an advantage and he's kind of riding it out to the end, and the other guy's an advantage. It was not just the fact that it was a ZVZ, but it was not a spectacular ZVZ final, which it then can definitely be. So, it's not the greatest final ever, but there's nothing you can do about it. I think overall it was still worth watching, especially if you play Zerg.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, you never know if you're going to get good games or bad games, and that's not really, like, something you can control. But outside of that, Gfinity had a good production, good casting. You guys had a little bit of banter with... players like Harstem, the Muslim. Did you really have a good time in terms of experience as a caster?
Yeah, man. I must say this was one of the chillest events I think I've ever worked. They had a lot of people on talent, like with Medals and Jarazar and Keldar. Basically, you have 6 people there, 5 casters rotating, just one stream. So for me, it was extremely easy. I show up in the morning, I cast 1 series, and then I do nothing for 3 hours other than joke around with Richard Lewis and the Muslim every now and then in the analysis room.
Yeah.
So it was extremely relaxed to work. The guys from Gfinity took really good care of us. So yeah, overall I had absolutely no complaints.
Does it give a vibe of a home story cup feel with all the players and or it was a little bit more professional?
It's like an in-between, right? They are definitely not trying to create the most boring show ever, but obviously it's not as wild as Home Story Cup, where you walk around with 2 Jack Daniels in your hand all the time. Yeah. So it was kind of like an in-between, but I definitely feel that Paul, Red Eye, obviously working, kind of doing what Mr. Beta does with Red Bull, definitely has the idea of trying to create a fun show, don't make it too tight, but at the same time do try to deliver a product that lives up to some standards. And I think they succeeded pretty well in it. There's always room for improvement, but I think if you compare it to the last Gfinity, they are making very quick progress.
Nice. That's good to hear. So we had
obviously if you go from Nathan to me. Just kidding, Nathan.
So,
there's a funny story about that actually, Kev.
Yes. What is it?
No, not for here.
Wow. Okay.
I'm just teasing.
Okay. We're just having fun.
So Solar ends up winning 4-1 versus Hydra, gets $5,000, and then Hydra continues his succession of second places. Maybe one day that will change, but that day was not happening. Next up, we have Kespa Cup. Kespa Cup filled with best of 5s. That was very interesting. I think the most interesting thing is almost every series went the distance, or at least was like a 3-1. I mean, the semifinals were sweeps, but outside of that, just really, really great matches. And once again, dominance of Zerg. Is it really the map pool that's the result of this, Xeno?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the Terran performance? Maruna making it past a run of 16. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he played against Buell. Maps are really hard for Terran right now, especially for Bio. So...
And Buell's so good, too.
Yeah, and Buell's good. He beat Innovation 3, too. So it's not like... I don't know. It's some people just know about the big names in Korea, but yeah, Buell is extremely good. I think, in a 3-2 series, what's going to determine... who wins or who loses is pretty much a small thing, or not even a big thing like the map pool. That's going to change everything, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This map pool right now, you just can't play the same way that you used to in TVZ, where you just go 3CC every game and then play just straight up macro because the maps just aren't good for that anymore. So you need to do like aggressive, usually like builds that are reliant on you doing economic damage, but that's pretty much completely based on luck since it just completely depends on what the Zerg opens. If they open roaches or like really defensive, Baneling Ling play, then it won't do any damage and they'll just be ahead. So it's just right now it's just a coin flip while Terrans adjust to the new maps.
Okay. Yeah, one of the coolest thing about Kespa Cup is that they use the ladder maps compared to Pro League, SSL, and GSL. They just went balls deep with a new map pool, so that was really fun. Because I think one of the biggest thing for me, at least, was last season of Pro League and everything, you can't really relate to every game. Like, King Sejan is nice, but if you're not going to play it on the ladder, like, what's the point of trying to study a build? But maybe, Xeno, I'm wrong, and you've picked up a lot of good builds, even though they were still on King Sejan?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's as you say, like, a lot of the builds in Pro League are heavily specialized for that one game on that one map, so you'll see Maru opening, like, a proxy factory and then a tank, and you can't do that on any other map that's not King Sejan, because it's just the orientation of the bases just isn't the same. It won't do the same, it won't produce the same results, so, yeah, you're right. I mean, but the games are still good quality, so they are what they are.
Yeah. Eero ended up winning 4-3. Was there any match, Todd, that you watched that you enjoyed in that tournament?
Well, any of Hero's games, really. Like, he had so many sick matches. Some in the finals, some before that, but like, like I told you, I started playing quite a bit myself recently, and like I've been struggling a bunch. Even against Zerg, which like used to be my best matchup by far. So it was nice to see like some good builds and like him also like mixing it up a lot and all that.
Okay. Next up, we have the WCS groups, which were indrawn by the guy with the fingers. What's his name?
Magic
Graham?
fingers.
Yeah, the magic fingers. That's what she said, the guy. Graham. All right, let's pull up the groups for Season 2. Okay, so basically everything was drawn. Let's go by group of death. Just look at the groups and point out your group of death and your opinion, and then we'll talk about that group. Okay, just a little bit of time. Nathanias, what's your group of death for these?
Group of death. Like, if we're going as far as the most even skill between all the players in the group, then maybe I look at Group G. Most of the other groups I can see a clear favorite.
Group
like
E, man.
Group E? Group E?
Group E by far. Yeah.
Right, for the people...
I can see it.
Hold on, for the people listening, because a few people just listen to the MP3. Group G is Mana, Masa, Firecake, and Igaz. So in Nathaniel's opinion, those are the most evenly matched. But Todd says Lilbo, Hydra, Snoot, and Kelliser, which actually, I agree with that, because they have... I mean, Hydra is just like a little bit ahead, but the rest can compete very easily. What about you, Roddy?
Like at the first hand, I wanted to agree with Todd because I was looking at Group E as well. But the more I look at Group E, the more I kind of feel that that's one of those groups that's probably not going to live up to the hype. Obviously, I wish I was wrong. But it's one of those groups.
You stayed
like, those four guys. No, like those four guys, it's going to be awesome. And then I'm afraid that in the end, it's going to be Hydra wins his first map, Snoot wins his first map. They, one of them loses in the winner bracket match, but both Zergs will still advance. I'm pretty damn sure that's what's going to happen.
Well, they play each other first.
Then it's like, okay, Zerg win, Zerg win, Zerg win. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. It would be sick to see Lilba or Kelazur make it out of that group, but I don't think it's very realistic. I personally like Group B a lot, guys. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but I think that is a very strong group and one that is hard to call.
I would say Group E first for me, then A, and then B, and then maybe G. But like Group A is really sick as well.
Jim, Kane, and Bunny.
I like Group A.
Beatrice, yeah. Jim was hyped for so long, but hasn't really delivered.
By Roddy.
Yeah, by Roddy.
Hey, when I had him, he did deliver, man. He just kind of stagnated. He plateaued for a year or two, but when I started the hype train, it was rolling.
Well, I mean, when Roddy hyped Jim, like Jim was like ranked number 16 on at a Korean server. Like anybody that can do that is worthy of the hype.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, let me tell you a story. One time, I was asking Jim for replays, you know, just so I could watch what the Terran's doing and copy them. And he sent me one of him playing versus Marine King or whatever. Yeah. And then, like, apparently, like, I don't know, some Korean people just don't like the Chinese people. Like, they think they're really bad or something like that. So when Jim was playing against Marine King, and then Jim beat Marine King was just like, "Who is this?" Because he thought it was a Smurf pretending to be Jim, but it was actually Jim. And then Jim was just like, "Oh, it's me, Jim." And then Marine King's like, "No, it's not. It can't be you or whatever. Like Jim sucks." And I'm just like, "All right." So that's just a random story about Jim.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jim is.
Thanks for sharing, guys. You know.
No, it was good. It was good.
It was good. But to be fair, like Jim always had to face like Bomber, Teja, and Polt. So I mean, like he's good. He's just had an impossible wall to climb above. Yeah.
He was kind of bad last season though. Like last season, he played really underwhelming. TLO mentioned this as well, that he was like, I thought I could beat Jim, but I really didn't think it was going to be that easy. Jim didn't play well at all in WCS Season 1 Premier League, and it's been a while. Like, to be honest, his first season was probably his best season. WCS Season 2 2013, and after that, it's never really been the same.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wonder, was he your biggest disappointment, like as a player from last season?
In Season 1? Yeah, I would go that far, yeah. I really expected so. Like, even if he wouldn't have made it out, I at least expected him to play a little better, but he played so stubborn against, he just played very average against TLO. Like, that game on Overgrowth, I'm sure you remember, Nate, where he could have made, like, a little bit of pressure to make sure that TLO wouldn't economically recover.
Yeah.
And he just sat on, like, 2 bases for, like, 13 minutes. It was like, I was, like, tearing out my hair. It's like, come on, do something. Like, what are you waiting for? You know that scene of Scary Movie 1 when like the teacher is on the roof of the building and this girl runs and says like, "What are you waiting for?" And then the teacher jumps off the building. So what am I waiting for? No, nobody. You guys are young.
We love.
That was a pretty.
I think like
Sorry, go ahead.
I think for me the most disappointing performance from Season 1 was Sen, by the way, which I hope will play better games this time because
he was really bad.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. He even apologized to me after the game. He was like, "Sorry, I played so bad."
It wasn't really a disappointing performance,
to me,
but like
to me, you'll always be the guy that beat me. Yes, Xeno, sorry.
What about like Naniwal losing in this Haas? Like,
Whoa.
You don't.
Somebody
talk
else
on
take
Haas.
the question, please.
Well, no. But what about Naniwa losing to Haas? Todd.
Roddy, you're Protoss. What do you think?
I thought
you don't think that was a disappointing result for Naniwal?
Yeah,
he was.
I mean, of course it was disappointing, and I also think it was unnecessary. But I don't think that was like the most disappointing loss of the season. Something it's like it's PvP and Haas. You know, in PvP he's just a very dangerous player. Like if you compare Naniwa's performance to Sen or Jim, I thought those two were way more underwhelming than Nani was. I think Nani got a little unlucky and made 1 or 2 bad decisions, but you know, it's PvP, it can happen.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that someone pointed out on Twitter, I think it was you, Xeno, is that every group has 2 Zerg, 1 Terran, and 1 Protoss, except Major Pull, TLO, a Laser. Or when I guess Gunfu Panda, Jaedong, Elfie. But a great group of death for me is H. If I were Jaedong, I want to kill myself.
I think that's so. That is no.
No, dude, he's gonna get cheese after cheese after cheese.
I mean,
He has 1 matchup to practice, and he canceled Dreamhack just to practice for this.
yeah.
I think he's gonna advance.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not debating that he's not gonna advance, but he's gonna be fed up with cheese, man. He's gonna have like regrets. I should have.
No, I was looking at this as like the Jaedong PVZ cheese gangbang of sorts. Like it's just gonna be like all in after all in coming his way.
Yeah, he's gonna regret not streaming Brood War on Africa, and never going to the StarCraft 2 train.
Oh, by the way, did I say Bucharest? I mean Dreamhack Tours, but yeah, he canceled that just to practice for WCS. He tweeted that, so
yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be ready, and I don't think he should care about getting cheesed or not. Like he's the guy before in the past that has had actually great games against cheese. We all remember when he played Deer at BlizzCon.
Yeah, I think like people hyping that group. That's also, of course, like it's a very entertaining group. Like I would love to watch and cast every single game, but Jaedong should not be in trouble in that group. TLO like made a tweet and I was really surprised by where he said like, well, I wouldn't even say that Jaedong is technically the best player out of the group right now or that it's debatable. I think he's very wrong there. I think he's completely underestimating Jaedong in that aspect. Like I know Jaedong has been on a little bit of a break and small hiatus, but if you saw his games at Gfinity, that's Kung Fu Panda, Elfie, and Haas don't play at that level. Like for me, Jaedong is a really big favorite.
Yeah, that makes sense. Xenosider, how is it going to be to play your buddy Harstem?
Oh yeah, I'm really, really sad about that. If there's anybody I want to advance with, it's going to be Hearthstone. So I'm going to make sure that I don't lose any TVZs. So when I beat Ionsu, and then it doesn't really matter what happens against Kevin. If I win, then I hope Kevin can beat the other two Zergs. But if I lose, then I'm just going to clean up. And I hope we can advance together so we can go to Canada.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Would Group C be one of the well, I guess Group D, if you put like the Australian Zerg that no one knows and that Chinese Zerg is like who's the weakest group of all the groups is what I'm trying to get at.
I'd say D. Group D, yeah. But then I heard that IA Sanu is in good condition right now. He's like ranked 50 Korean GM, and Hearthstone's really good. And come on, of course, me. So I don't know about NXT.
Definitely Group D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Watch it, mate.
And I guess second weakest would be Group C. Can we go as far as to say that?
I think Group C is pretty tough. Like, I think Violet is definitely bouncing back. Like I think Season 1 like definitely shocked him. That's like, all right, with a half-ass effort, I'm not gonna make a lot of money anymore in the foreign scene. And Violet is a talented player. Like he has surprised so many people in the past with really good runs at tournaments where everybody thought he would have zero chance. And even I was one of those people at first where I was like, yeah, Violet, you know, he's good, but he's just good in beating up foreigners. And then he had a couple of magnificent runs against players that, like, I thought there's no way you could beat him. I still have Marine Lloyd very high up there, even though he's had a few disappointing results lately. But for me, Marine Lloyd is still the second best Terran in Europe. And I think Red is actually in really good shape. Like, Red beating Wellmo in the Challenger was not a surprise to me at all. Like, I called that weeks ago. And obviously I'm wrong sometimes too. Mystery is a true mystery to me. Haha, I don't know him very well. I personally think Group H is the weakest, but that's just me.
H?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. I can see that. Poor Elfie, man. But that concludes WCS Season 2 groups. 4 groups in NA, 4 groups in EU. Chinese people go to NA. And yeah, that's pretty much it. One group has 2 Koreans. It's a little bit lucky draw. Well, unlucky draw for them, lucky draw for us. Go foreigners. But
how good is Stardust right now? Does anybody know?
It wasn't good in qualifiers at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, playing with delay, he lost to American Terrans was like his weakness. So.
I mean, I don't think it was a delay. He just wasn't in good form.
You didn't think he was good against Huck?
I think he was better against Huck, but I still don't think he was in DreamHack winning form. No.
Okay.
Well, was he ever again after winning DreamHack?
Yeah, he won WCS.
He was pretty good.
He won WCS Season 2.
Yeah. I don't know.
Look, I'm telling you what.
Was he ever? He won WCS.
Yeah, but it was like all PvPs and like, whereas like at DreamHack he was like playing in every matchup like super well, especially PvZ. But yeah, I agree with you. Like he's had some impressive moments, and lately he's not been as impressive. It's gonna be interesting to see, especially Toonming. Like I hope Sen plays better, but I'm mostly looking at Toonming here to try and make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Stardust, and I've talked to people that talked to Stardust, and he just played League of Legends for a lot of months in a row, and then he just recently came back. So I'm not gonna expect him to be immediately good at StarCraft. Like it's just not even possible, in my opinion.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's gonna practice 24/7 for this, like he did before.
Okay, it could be. I'm not sure. Depends
Where
on how good.
Where is he living, by the way, guys? Where is Stardust living? I know he lives in the US, but where?
I
have no idea.
Does anybody know?
He said he had a problem with the customs.
How cool would it be if he just lived like in Idaho or something on the farm? I think that would be hilarious.
You're fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Go to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and is practicing there in Nate's old room.
Yeah. He's living that fucking Scranton life.
Whoops. All right. So next we have Dreamhack Tours. Why like that? The name of that city? Like I don't understand. I don't get it. Isn't like a Tours like a tower? ToD?
Yeah, it means
What?
tower.
Yeah. So you have some explaining to do, man. Why did they name that city like that?
What? Why do you bring up the stupidest stuff? Like,
But they
do you want me to start talking about how this Canadian Protoss named Hushang challenged you and then you bitched out? It's not relevant at all. Hey, you want me to talk about this?
ToD said we'd get drama. We got it.
what?
desRow, you want to say something? This guy's been calling you out on social media everywhere, non-stop, and you're
Yeah,
too
even
scared
on
to play
Reddit.
him, even though you say he's too bad.
Yeah, I
and that
might
you will
I might
smash
give him a match now since he lost 0-4 and breaking out. So he's sad. Give him like a little consolation prize, you know.
How
He
well
was
do you
playing
think
in
he would
Breaking
do
Out.
Breaking
What
Out?
were you playing in?
I beat Dragon 3-2 for $10 in the Gravity Show
Wow.
match.
$10.
Holy shit. Let me
Yeah.
get you a fucking gold medal in
Yeah.
a second.
He was mad. He stopped the stream right away after I beat him.
By the way, can we talk about why Huck is not on the show?
Something happened again.
Someone unleashed the dog. No, nothing happened. All right. So I'm never
So why is he on the show though?
I'm never insulting France again, ToD, I promise. All right, Dreamhack Tours, the lineup of players. Oh, look at that. There's Huck. No, but seriously, there's a lot of good Koreans. It's going to be pretty stacked. A bunch of foreigners as well, a bunch of French people. How do you think the Baguettes are going to do this weekend, ToD?
I think they can do well, quite a few of them. It's the same group stage format as usual. Like 16 players were seeded into the round of 32, the groups, and then a lot of other people, they have to play in the round of 94 groups to get seeded in the round of 32 ones. And like actually, I'm a little bit surprised. Like a lot of good people, they were seeded in like the round of 92 groups, like Mini Razor, Revolver, like Hearthstone, Scarlet, Blythe, Verdi, Dayship, Tidrogo. And then you have scrubbish players in the round of 64, like Xeno Cider in those groups. What the fuck is happening?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yo, best of 5 show actually right now, ToD.
We'll play sometime. We can play sometime. We can play.
Yeah.
If you want, we can play.
I
But
would,
remember,
you'll fucking
I'm a
block me
former
off Twitter
pro
after
gamer.
that match.
I'm a former pro gamer whose worst matchup is PVT. So now you can take the question and tell you why the fuck you're in the group when Tidrogo and all these guys, they are not.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just better than them.
Okay.
No, but I actually think it's
White Rice play?
I think
Apparently,
it's based
yeah.
off of WCS points. I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's what they said. I think Harston was a little salty about that on Twitter. He said it was definitely not WCS points, but I don't know enough about it to dispute it.
Scarlet's going to be there.
I messaged Adam Beasy before, and he said it was just like general results. So I guess he just has like a gut feeling about how he sees it. I don't know.
If I was Hearthstone,
I mean-
I'd be fuming, man.
Maybe when they opened up the 2015 series, they based it off of 2014 results and not current WCS points. I don't know. That's like the only reason I can think of if it's like not that way. Because there weren't too many results. I don't know. Hard to be sure, I guess.
I don't think it matters that much. Like, anyone who bitches about it, if you can't make it out of the first group stage, then you're probably never going to make it anywhere anyways. Like, none
Yeah,
of
like
those
what's the
groups
difference? Honestly, it makes no
Yeah.
difference.
Like, none
I
of
just
those
wanted
groups
to
look
embarrass it.
particularly stacked to me. Like, obviously...
But you know, like
some of those-
using this as a spectator, but if you're a pro gamer and you get into the first group rather than the second, and you think you deserve better than someone to be in the second, you're pretty rustled about it. I can tell you that because it's happened to me.
Well, you wake up Russell, Tom. I
Yeah.
don't think the
Yeah,
groups
you're
have anything to do with it.
You're always angry, man. You gotta chill.
It's okay. I got
that's
nothing
why-
on your brother though.
But no, one thing I like about this Dreamhack though is they eliminated the third set of group stages and they go straight into playoffs round of 32, which is a lot more do or die, and it's a lot more matches, or I guess a lot less matches, but it's more I don't know. It's more. It'll be fun that they decided to switch it up. Look at the player list, guys. Let's pick a winner right now. See who was right.
For Dreamhack?
Yeah. All right. If you pick the right winner, I'll PayPal you $10 after the weekend.
Only 10? What? It's like so many
Only
good
10.
players.
Ah,
Wow, you giving us your Dragon show match money, desRow. You're so kind.
Yeah, I know. All hard money from my blood and sweat. There you go.
I'll go with party.
Parting? Okay. What about you, Todd?
I need to think about this. Go first, Roddy and Nate, so I know who not to pick.
I mean, 4GG's on that list, right?
Yes.
No, Parting was on the list last I checked it, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna win. Like,
Okay.
What?
just saying.
But he lost to Sulky pretty badly. Or, well,
I
not
don't give
pretty
a fuck.
badly, but-
Parting's gonna win this tournament.
He also
Kev-
like won GSL and
Kev is gonna
like,
say
GTA.
Rain. I mean, Rain is in there.
Yeah, I actually think Rain is gonna win.
Yeah, okay.
Rip.
Like
MMA,
Well,
boys.
Rain or
MMA is gonna
Fantasy,
win
in
this.
my opinion. It's Rain or Fantasy.
I think MMA is gonna win.
No.
Okay. You think MMA? Wow.
Yeah, man.
I can't believe no one
Rain
picked
or-
Gumiho. I feel like it's his time. There's also Linak in there.
You might as well
Oh,
pick
wait,
Marine.
what do you base that
or
statement
Xeno
on?
Slayer.
Yeah.
What? Marine King. I don't know why Marine King is there. Maybe it's just like Bon Voyage, you know, last tournament.
What the hell?
Jesus.
Before he gets the boot for those those Pro League games.
What happened to Pro League
You're
games?
the worst.
You didn't see
Holy
like
shit.
when the creeped in his base and he went 3cc and never looked back, and then he
I died
died
against that build yesterday, by the way. Over there.
But what is the implications of
It's
that?
pretty good build.
of match fixing. But yeah, we talked about it previously. Not gonna
Oh, okay, I
go
know. I
down
just
that
wanted
road.
to.
Okay.
Alright.
All right. Next up, Home Story Cup 11 announced for June. So
It wasn't announced for June. Was it?
You know, it's June 4 to 7.
I thought they said like it was only if they got the funding for it.
What? It doesn't say that.
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about the Reddit thread?
Yeah, Home Story Cup announced June 4th, June 4th to June 7th.
Oh.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh no no
In
no
the
no
first
no
comment,
no!
it
Yeah,
says,
exactly. Wow. Okay, desRow. What the fuck? Okay, moving
Oh,
on.
desRow.
Rip
Nice try,
take.
dude.
Rip take. Jjaki and MMA join Sbenu. Did you guys see their commercials for their shoes? By the way, like after I saw that,
What are shoes?
what their shoes? Sbenu.
I'm just fucking with you, desRow. I
Okay.
know what shoes are.
Should I show the commercial?
Yeah, but do you know what Sbenu is, Nate? That's the question.
I'd start style Sbenu. That's all I need to know. Bitch. Does Sbenu mean something in Korean?
Does it?
Yeah,
Todd?
what kind of brand is it? What do they do?
Make clothes. Gee, I mean, no? Don't, I mean, I bought a pair of shoes off of them, so I imagine they make clothes.
They make shoes. You're right. It wasn't clear with your first answer, but you passed. Good
By
job.
the way, I'm
I
showing
mean,
I'm showing one of their commercials on the stream right now. If you guys want to see, it's interesting commercial. Like after seeing that commercial, I'm like, their shoes look kind of nice. I think I should buy a pair.
the shoes are nice.
I think Moonblade ordered like one pair and tweeted about it.
Yeah, I have a pair. They're very nice, actually. Very comfortable.
How did you get one pair?
I
thought you
ordered
can
them
only
off
order
their
in Korea.
fucking website. I ordered. I
can
ordered
order
off
to
their
the States?
actual. Yes, you can order. I got free shipping. It got to me within a week.
Wow, Nate.
So feisty.
Supporting esports. Still
Yeah,
with,
man.
like, a lot
I
of
even
money.
tweeted them. I tweeted them my fucking receipt and everything because I care about our
Maybe
scene,
if
Todd.
I didn't mute you on Twitter, I would have seen it. Continue.
Wow. Mute me. You'd have to follow me to mute me first, bitch.
He started following me again, but there was like a strict rule set.
There's a timer on it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next up, Breaking Out Season 4 happened
Breaking out.
last weekend. I know most of you guys haven't watched it, but Todd, did you end up playing the show matches? No, you did not. God damn it. Basically,
Nope.
the top 4 was EJK, BioIce, Moosgill, and Trace, and BioIce ended up winning 4-0 versus Moosgill, earning a total of... What the hell? A total of about $1,000, and he's also invited to the Base Trade TV tournament, so that's pretty cool. Have you played BioIce on ladder, Rotterdam?
Once, yes.
Do you,
Well, I mean, I haven't played any ladder in a while. I've been in Europe for like 2 months by now, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, guys, that wraps up the topics, the list of topics. Not much
didn't
happening.
ask me.
What?
Oh, wait, I
What?
feel like that's a perfect segue to go into our best topic of the day.
Yeah. Hold on. But what about you, Nathanias? Do you hate?
I was just gonna say he's a cheesy bastard because he road challenged me. That's all.
Well, at least he leaves a mark, man. He's made his impression on you. But yeah, so Xenosider wanted to talk about the NA scene. Is it dead? We've talked about this topic quite a bit before, but Xeno is a very passionate young man who was once upon a time looking to join the army on Remax. Remember that call? But yeah, Xeno, take it away.
Okay. Actually, I'm just I don't know what to say. I didn't have anything organized to say about this, but like I'm looking at like stuff like breaking out, and like I understand that's like a really good thing to like promote NA talent or stuff, you know, like that. But ultimately, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago, there was never anything to support up and coming talent. Like it just happened because there were so many people trying to get good that eventually some people became really great. You know, you didn't really need a system to like foster that growth. But like nowadays, I feel like I don't know. It's basically what happened is in the NA scene, like you had really top tier level players like Scarlet who were able to compete, you know, with the best of the Koreans, right? And then the basic theory is like, you know, when the time came where Scarlet would eventually retire, or like whenever like these top titans retire, like somebody would take their place. But like ultimately that's not the case in WCS. Like what really happened is the Scarlet, you know, the players from NA that were able to compete with the top level Koreans just like kind of went away, and like the tier 2 NA players just stepped up and took their place, but they're still not able to do that. And then like basically the step up from tier 3 to replace the tier 2 just like didn't happen because there's none of those players like that are like that quality, you know? Like personally, I'm like friends with Zeal, and I think he's a good player, and I think also Pili was a good player as well. But like they pretty clearly showed in WCS that it's not like close anymore. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say really with that.
They didn't have a chance. They didn't even. Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like they're not like bad, but they're not in that stage where we would expect them to be. You know, like at least taking maps or showing good games relative to the players that we would consider a level above them competing in WCS. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's really interesting.
And then as like an extending point, like. Okay, like, so now we even have, like, the tier 2 players. Like, once they start to drift away, so, like, we have, like, Suppy, for instance. He's going really hard in college and just played in the Heroes of the Dorm recently. I don't know. I think he's still going to be around. But, like, if players, like, for instance, QXC was a great example. You know, he was never really able to compete with Koreans at a high tier level. He was about, like, a tier 2 NA player. And, like, he kind of faded away, and literally nobody took his spot. Like, he practiced for a few days before the WCS qualifier and qualified. Like, I don't think that should happen in a competitive environment. That's like really embarrassing in my opinion.
Yeah, but outside, but there it's like sort of the off season for the beginning of the year. Like EU, they have like their tournaments like pretty like consistently, but for NA, the few tournaments that we have, MLG, Red Bull, is always around the summer. So before that, like the NA players, they have nothing to work towards besides like the qualifier like that eventually comes. Right?
Well, that's the problem, right? There's no NA players that like practice just to practice, which is like where the good players like came from eventually, you know?
Yeah.
Like for instance, like me 4 years ago, basically every single player that you see that's a top NA level player now or was before, we never practiced because like there was a tournament coming up. We just practiced to get better at the game, you know? And I don't see that with anybody anymore. If there's anything, like now people like wait until maybe like the last 2 or 3 weeks before an important tournament and they start practicing, but that's like not how you're ever going to get good enough to beat the Koreans. Like there's never going to be, you can't just like wait until 2 weeks before a tournament, you know, like cram at the last second all your practice and then hope to beat Koreans that are practicing, you know, all year round. So
yeah, but if we take a look at like someone like Puck, right? Puck was like pretty much like bad compared to QXC, Huck, Scarlet, and everything, and then he became like one of the best players in NA, and he was still struggling to make like more than like 300 a month from the teams that he could get. So like all the people, they start like knowing that, so they know like what's the fucking point? If I put in all this time, I'm not gonna get the salary that's gonna be worth the time invested, and then there's no tournament where I can cash in some of that time I spent practicing, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say that. Like that's what like that's the problem right now, isn't it? I really don't know what the solution is, to be honest, but it's just rough because like there's not enough incentive really for NA players to, you know, reach that top level anymore.
So you have like breaking out that happens maybe like once a year, maybe like every like 3/4 of a year, and then after that there's just nothing else. So we would need something else that's sort of like a season that's consistent for any players to be invested in outside of WCS, which is for a very selected few, since there's 5 Koreans in Challenger. I don't know, Todd, you've been around forever, man. You're like the tree in my backyard. Do you have any suggestions that could help this?
Well, first suggestion is you stop being a bitch and take that show match against Wuchang. But going back to the points, I think like it's really hard for like new bloods to like rise to the top. Like there isn't really any player that comes out of nowhere and then starts beating like every top player, not just foreign but Korean as well. Like it's very hard for that to happen just because StarCraft is very competitive, but also like experience is obviously very important. Like the players that become good in the scene and start doing like a lot better than you would expect them to, they are the players that have been around for some time. Like for example, you know, in Europe, you had like guys like Bunny that really like rose to the very top of like the foreigner scene, guys like Cyril that are doing a lot better. So I guess since it's only like that, like it's not surprising that like, you know, for maybe they realized that like the newcomers, that it was just so hard to reach that level, and maybe less people try at the same time. And since like, as he mentioned, the people that were really good before, like Scarlet and stuff, they stopped playing, like it's very hard to replenish like, you know, that skill in the foreign scene, like Naniwa as well doesn't play, Stefano, like a lot, like basically almost every single biggest name out there, like other than Snoot and Bunny.
But what would be? Do you have like a solution that would fix, that would help, that would start helping the situation?
I'm not really sure. Like with the current situation, like monetary wise, like for example in USA, like as you know, Xenocider was mentioning, like even somebody like Puck is hardly making a living unless you're willing to stream a lot and like do a lot of other stuff than just play in tournaments. It's actually kind of hard to make a good living. So as long as it's like that, I really don't see what could happen unless like a lot of people start, you know, to magically get like super motivated and try to go pro and like play the game a lot, or even like if a few crazy foreigners try to go to Korea to practice there for some time and then come back and be in better condition to face everybody else. I really don't know. Maybe a team house, like some kind of team house where like people practice really super hard. Like if you put all the best foreigners in a team house and they're practicing a ton and like actually like talking to each other and like treating it as a team, then maybe. But then that's not really helping the new blood either. But then you would actually have people, like a lot of foreigners that would be able to do better against Koreans. I'm still actually like really sad that my WCS, like the idea that I gave last time about the ladder, about like WCS players having to play in their ladder region and a certain amount of game every month or trimester, hasn't been implemented, because I think this is one of the things that really would have been able to help. Like Xenocider is complaining about not being able to get good practice on NA, and I fully understand that. Like guys like Jaedong and Stardust, they won't be laddering on NA, they will be playing on Korea from California, so it's not really helping the region that they're going over to US to play in the actual WCS and winning, practicing it with Koreans. And it's kind of the same. Like in Europe, there's exceptions, but I still think like something has to change with this. Like it's very demotivating, I think, for a lot of pro gamers too, to realize that.
I think Todd just made an absolutely great point, and I touched about this before when I was streaming. But basically, like what I think is the problem here is like what the W's intentions are like good, but like how they enforced it wasn't as good, because they want Korean players to come to NA, right? They require Korean players to come to NA so that they strengthen the NA region, right? But that's just not what happens at all. There's no requirement that says like you need to play X amount of games on ladder, and even if there was, like I don't know if that would do anything. But there's no adequate solution that actually strengthens the region. You know, like teleporting them here doesn't make the NA players better. Whereas, like, they basically just come to California and just keep playing on Korea. And if they live in California, that's not a problem. Right now, NA ladder is literally a ghost town. Like, no competitive NA player plays on NA ladder bar like 2 or 3. And most people play in Europe. And the funny thing is, actually, if you send Korean players to Europe, they actually have to practice with the regional people. Like, for instance, 4GG, he'll practice with pretty much any competitive level SC2 player in Europe. Because in Europe, you cannot realistically play on the Korean server anymore. So the only way you can get practice is by practicing with other European players. So that's a good example of when you send like 4GG into Europe, he's actually strengthening the region. But when you send like Jaedong, Stardust, or Polt or whatever into the NA region, they aren't doing anything for the scene. Yeah,
but to clarify though, like I don't think that Blizzard wanted Koreans to join NA. They just wanted to open up the competition, and they didn't want them to go there and practice like with the people and stream and stuff like. But yeah, I do agree that it needs to be fairer. And like, if I was an NA player, like I wouldn't be happy with the current situation. Like in terms of being able to practice on the ladder. Like I guess if you're East Coast, you gotta play Europe, and if you're West Coast, you gotta play Korea. It's the only way right now because NA ladder is just like that's inactive.
And then if you're puck and you're stuck in the middle,
GM there. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then if you're puck and you're in the middle, you're fucked playing on NA. Rip forever.
The thing is though, like if Blizzard's intention isn't for WCS to like have I'm not trying to take any posture. I don't even this isn't Blizzard's fault at all. That's not like I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining about Blizzard not taking enough action or whatever. I'm just like making a commentary based on what has happened is basically what I'm doing. Or I guess like some people can call it complaining. Anyways, what I'm saying is if Blizzard really doesn't want like the Korean players to come to the NA scene and like that's just how it ended up to be, like you could literally remove the 5 slots from WCS NA that the Koreans are currently occupying and just add those to WCS Korea. Like it would be the same thing, right? In my opinion. I don't know what the difference would be, except like there would be more opportunities for Korean players in Korea that can't come to America because of resource issues. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I think it should be okay for like anyone from any region to try to play another region for as long as they commit to that region and actually practice there. That's why I think like that the thing I suggested is like the best possible option. Like if you tell Jaedong and Stardust they have to play like 100 games per month, or 100 wins on NA per month, and like they have to live in that region, they are gonna have to get those wins. That means a lot of opportunity to play against them on the ladder. And since they have to win, like maybe they will try to get through it by cheesing a lot and doing it quickly, but then it's still training you. And then there is no real way for them to abuse that. Maybe they can search at the same time and try to meet each other, but then as much as one of them is doing it faster, the other one's doing it a little bit slower. Like it wouldn't even be worth it. Like I think they would prefer to play against foreigners so that they get easier games and shit. And like it's very easy to monitor as well. Like this really like solves a lot. It solves also the barcode problem because you tell them that they have to do it with their real ID. And then a lot of people will stream. Like imagine you get to play against Jaedong every day on the ladder. Like it would be ridiculous. Good practice on the NA.
Yeah, I shut my pants when I played like 10 games versus Bomber in 2014. And I won like 5 of them too. And I put them on YouTube and I was living the dream. But I think it's really unfair that someone like Polt can go to Korea for like a month and a half before WCS Season 1 finals just to train on the ladder. Like I think that's unfair to the European players, the players also from NA that are in his group. But because there's no ladder requirement, then he's free to do that. What about you, Rotterdam? You haven't spoke much. Do you think there's a magical way to fix NA?
I mean, it's complicated. You guys touched on most subjects already. Obviously, one thing that was not mentioned, and it's pretty important to mention, is like, when those guys travel to, when those guys like 4GG and whatever go to Europe, they actually practice on the European server. But that's also because playing from Europe on Korea is literally impossible. Like, it's super freaking laggy. So they don't really have a choice. And in America, yes, you do have a choice. If you live in California, you can play on the Korean server. I really don't know. Like, I also do think that like some of the NA players are a little bit dramatic. Like, I think you are not forced to play on the ladder. There is this thing called custom games or playing with your teammates that should also be able to make you better. And of course, like, more opportunities would help. But in the early days, like, nobody often played like it wasn't like, okay, well, let's play some StarCraft just because we want to qualify for this tournament or whatever. You know, people just play it because they enjoyed the game and they wanted to make it fun. And I don't think, like, you can ever make an argument for, like, well, I tried to go pro gamer, but there is just no use. Like, I think being pro gamer is always risky in the Western world anyway. Like, and I think you should only ever do it if you already reached, like, an insane level. Like, if you're already good enough to make top 16 or whatever in foreign tournaments, then you can also consider going full time. But before that, it's just, you know, we just don't live in that society yet, like, or to make those decisions, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully at some point the NA scenes gets some growth. So
there will be like some exciting things happening again, by the way. Like, even if it's not announced just yet, that doesn't mean that there is nothing in the works. And I mean, right now it's also a little bit of a tricky time, right? Like, Legacy of the Void is on the horizon; it's not there yet. If you're a tournament organizer right now, would you, like, in the later days of Heart of the Swarm, would you still organize a big tournament, or would you save it for Legacy of the Void hype? Obviously, everyone is going to do the latter, so it's a little bit of a tricky phase right now, that especially the NA scene is in.
By the way, I've been told by an unnamed source that Polt has been living in Korea since the beginning of the year, and that he's not going to move back to the US until July. So
He's in school. Yeah.
What do you mean?
That's what I don't know.
He's in school in Korea?
I thought he went to school in the US.
No, he stopped going to school in the US for a long time.
So he's in school. He's in school in Korea?
No, he's just living in Korea now.
He has a few classes in Korea to have his degree. Will be in NA very soon. So basically, Polt has just been living off the Korean ladder. Well, I guess that explains why he won Season 1. It's quality practice. Congratulations to him. But yeah, that concludes the topic. What? That's good money for him, man. It's like
the worst.
Second house incoming, man. The bank is his second home. Alright, guys, get on Reddit, ask your questions. We're going to be answering everything